All right, guys, the LARPers, they won. The haters, they have officially won. I've never been closer to deleting social media than I am today. It's like impossible to have a regular discussion about anime or anything else that you're really interested in without buzzword culture stepping in and repeating the exact same talking points that they heard their favorite YouTubers say. Now, you couple that with the fact that negativity is amplified on most of these platforms, you wind up with a pretty miserable experience overall. But it's always interesting to me though to see the mental gymnastics that some people do across different fandoms when they think that they're somehow above others. These dudes will pull out this superiority gimmick like, nah, dog, my manga is actually way more deep and nuanced than the shonen slop that you guys usually read. And nothing yells out, I just read Berserk for the first time more than when people cry about shonen meatheads. Like, bro, we get it. You just read The Climber and it just became your whole personality after chapter 2, but just get in line, bro. You're not the first person. But eventually I kind of started to come to the realization that all of these fandoms, everyone online, we're all the same people. I know that there's a JoJo's fan that's typing like, nah, our community is actually wholesome or whatever, but no, all of you guys are the same, and I'm not excluding myself. Don't let me make it seem like I'm talking down to you guys. I am no different, but maybe I'm a lot less emotionally invested than some, but it's really no different. If you participate in a fandom, then you're by extension a part of this entire discussion. That goes from One Piece to Berserk to Rent a Girlfriend. Whatever you watch, whatever community you're actively engaged in, you're more than likely guilty of the things I'm about to talk about. The only difference is your spot in the food chain. The vast majority of these discussions online usually hinge on the idea of trying to get an imaginary one-up on somebody else. You want to ratio them. You want to get more reposts, more upvotes, whatever the case is relevant to the website that you're using. Nobody actually does this stuff so that they can change someone's mind or educate them or just have real nuanced discussion. There's never been an argument that ended in somebody saying, hey, you're actually kind of right. Like, that does not exist on the internet, even when one side is blatantly wrong. At best, you'll just get no response, but usually it's just aggressive denial until the argument just peters out over time. Because of this, people are willing to blatantly lie in order to feel like they've won an engagement. Or if we're gonna match it with the brand new buzzword that I actually kind of like using, people are LARPing. Now, LARPing comes from live action role playing, but over time, the use of the word has kind of come to fit somebody that's pretending to be knowledgeable or interested in something, and they join these spaces and they dominate them and kind of take the shine off of people that actually are fans of something. Like, let's say if I was LARPing Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man is cool to me. I haven't finished it, but if I was LARPing it, I would come in with really loud and aggressive opinions, and I'd be making blanket statements that I shouldn't be making because I don't know that much about the series to even be talking about it like that. That's the problem with LARPers, because a lot of people don't know that what it really is, and the word is kind of lost meaning, but we've repackaged it to mean something else. I've lost track of how many times I've seen somebody go viral for slandering something, and then I go to the responses like the bot that I am, and they're somewhere along the line saying, well, I haven't actually watched it. So you've got 20,000 people agreeing with your opinion on something that you've never actually engaged with. And of course, out of that group of people that agree with that take, they're gonna take that and spread it amongst another group of people. And these bad opinions just continue to snowball from people that haven't actually seen or watched these shows. That's where the problem comes from. It's a never-ending cycle. But we do need to acknowledge the elephant in the room that plays a really big part in this cycle. And those are the bots. We've reached a point on the internet where bots are starting to outnumber humans. And it might not really sound that serious, but when you realize that rage really fuels engagement, you'll understand how beneficial it is to push negativity into your face to force you to respond. The lies get glorified, then the fact checks just get lost somewhere along the way. If the bots aren't making the tweets, then they're most definitely amplifying them. That's why you'll see the most brain dead tweet ever, and it's got 50,000 likes under it. Like, there was a time when if you said something stupid on the internet, you would just be admonished by everyone. But now I see the most out of touch, free from reality takes, and it's like 100,000 people really agreed with you. But then I realized it. These are not people, bro. They're bots. Like, they're literally bots. Now, I don't want to fully remove responsibility from people because these bots are getting these ideas from somewhere. They parrot the things that they see people say. But it's a lot easier to get you to agree with something when it looks like tons of people already agree with it. If a really bad tweet makes its way to your timeline, you're more likely to engage with it if you see that it's got a ton of likes, because one part of you is going to be like, there's no way people really agree with this. And the other part of you, let's say if you're a hater of this, you're going to be like, well, yeah, that's facts. And it's like, bro, these are bots. Calm down. Let's just try to ignore it. But returning to the human element of this, in truth, there's not really much of a difference in these fandoms. Only the position that they hold in the food chain. If your series is a larger and more successful show, you're naturally going to be considered to be a part of an extremely obnoxious and loud fan base that's always making everything about them. On the contrary, if you're a fan of a smaller, more niche series, then you'll be viewed to be a part of a more snarky and smaller community that has some contempt for these larger and more successful fan bases. The fan bases themselves aren't successful, but you get what I'm saying. In reality, the people are exactly the same, but they can only represent themselves as their series allows them to. I think One Piece kind of works as the perfect example here because it's been on both sides of the spectrum in such a weird way. But let me clarify this. One Piece has never been a small series, especially on a worldwide scale. But its presence online and in more casual spaces was definitely a lot less represented than Naruto or even Bleach at one point. Now, meeting a One Piece fan used to seem like a really special event or canon event in your life. Like, bro, I can't believe I find somebody that isn't just repeating the same shit about One Piece being too long, yada, yada, yada. And I know that's not true for Japan. The manga sales will tell you this, but in America, at least, One Piece kind of took a backseat to its contemporaries. Bleach, Naruto, Hunter x Hunter at one point was more popular. And during this time, the One Piece fandom was a lot more tame and self-contained compared to how they are now. The communities were always there, but they were more tight-knit. And they spent a lot of time trying to really convince people to read One Piece than whatever this shit is they're doing now. That's why there used to be a meme about One Piece fans being like Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, they're always trying to get you to watch the show. And it still is true to an extent, but we don't have to try as hard because it's everywhere now. But fast forward to 2020, and when Wano and COVID hit, the fan base absolutely exploded. We saw One Piece fans, or LARPers, as most would say, coming from everywhere, and the community is now looked at as a lot more loud and toxic to the eyes of most. But let me let you in on a secret, all right? Let me just cue you in a little bit. The community has always been like this. Shanks versus Mihawk, ZKK, Sanji versus Zoro. These crazy, toxic debates have been around since the dawn of the community, and they aren't going anywhere anytime soon. People have been Admiral fans for the longest. That should let you know how bad this fan base is. But the only thing that's changed is that since more people have joined, the arguments, and by extension, we look a lot worse. When there's more eyes on you, your flaws are going to stand out a lot more. So somebody from afar looking at Zoro and Sanji fans go edit every single week is going to be like, yo, those One Piece fans are actually crazy toxic. I do not want to associate with them. Versus when this was kind of a more underground thing. I hate to use that word because I know people are going to be saying, look, One Piece was never underground. It was this and that. But I'm sure somebody is willing to be fair and understand where I'm coming from in regards to how the community has boomed over time. I can almost guarantee you that if one of those fan bases, like, let's say JoJo's. I feel like JoJo's is one fan base that people like to act like it's just the most wholesome and welcoming community ever, and everybody's just kumbaya. Hey guys, we just love the Joestars. If JoJo's had One Piece level of success overnight, within a week there'd be 1 million people crying about how toxic they are and how they're the worst fan base. And the reason is because the fan bases themselves don't suck. The people do. People are going to represent themselves how they are allowed to. Lakers fans are obnoxious. I'm a Lakers fan, I know that. And I'm pretty sure a lot of small market people look at Lakers fans, they're like, bro, I hate these Lakers fans. If you had 17 championships, you would be the same way, but you don't. Get your place in the food chain and stay there. And it's funny because we just kind of saw a sliver of this when there was that meme going around with people talking about releasing the Steel Ball Run episodes, right? And I remember a One Piece fan made a tweet in a similar format to that meme, and boy, they got jumped by JoJo's fan, like, bro, y'all get a little ounce of relevance and this what y'all want to do. Like, it's crazy to me. I don't know if you could really tell by this video. I'm sure you could, but I'm really fed up with the way that online discussion plays out. The best thing for you to do, honestly, is just find your own community of friends that you can discuss stuff with and just ignore the LARPers. They get paid for engagement. And these blue check marks, They get paid to get you to get mad and click on their tweets. They know exactly what they're doing. And it's fueled by bots, like I just said. It's human nature to want to defend something that you're attached to. But don't let that human nature get you wrapped up in an argument with some bots that don't even exist, or be people that have no idea what they're talking about and just want to use you to contribute to their own paycheck. Really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm trying to transition to not just being a One Piece only channel and doing more general discussions about anime and the community, but I'm not letting One Piece go by any means. Trust me, there will be plenty of One Piece content on this channel. I just don't want to be so dependent on how the interest of One Piece as is at that very time. Like, it's no secret. People are mad about the Brook flashback, right? And I feel like by extension, interest in One Piece as a whole is down a little bit. And I don't have a problem with the Brook flashback, but y'all know how people are. So you kind of got to play the game, and I don't want to play that game. I want my people to be around for me and not just what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to work on it. This video might bomb, but I won't be mad at it if it do. If you enjoyed, you know what to do. I'm not going to even ask no more because I feel like people just going to naturally do that to things that they enjoy. So show love. Peace out.